Hello, I'm not Amie. Amie couldn't be here today. She's in Washington, D.C. She's presenting to a group of people there, telling her about the good work she and her fellow peers at the Mental Health Association of Nebraska's Real Referral Program do. I'll tell you about that program in a bit, but let's talk about Amie first. Amie was born in Omaha. She was the oldest of 6 kids. When she was young, her parents liked to party a lot. She witnessed violence at a young age, and at the age of 5, she suffered from an unspeakable trauma. At the age of 12, she became very angry, and she was deemed uncontrollable by the state. She was sent to Geneva to the Youth Rehabilitation and Treatment Center 3 times between the ages of 13 and 18. First time for 30 days, the second for 90, and the last for 9 months. When Amie was 19, she started using methamphetamine. She had a couple of kids and quit using meth for a few years, but at the age of 30, she went back and began using methamphetamine again. In 2008, she started suffering from a psychosis. She heard voices and saw visions, and she said they were from a spiritual realm. Amie was dealing with psychosis, and she was committing disturbances. Every time the police found her, she went straight to jail. After one particularly rough stint in jail, her mom came and got her, and the voices and the visions were very strong. She went to the hospital. After the hospital, the demons were still there. Amie was arrested for possession of methamphetamine and sentenced to 14 months. When she got out, she was paroled and went straight back to North Platte, where she fell back into the similar lifestyle. She was arrested again and sentenced to 15 months at the Lincoln Correctional Center. Amie has 53 criminal convictions. Amie, while at the Lincoln Correctional Center, worked in work release. She got her first job at Campbell's. She described this job as a gift from God. She had always wanted to work in nature. It was that time in her life that she had decided, I'm done living the way I used to. Amie was living in a transitional home with other people with similar problems. Things weren't working out too well, and she found Kia House. Kia House is also run by the people at MHA. It's a respite home where you can go and stay for a few days when you're having rough times. Amie said when she walked in the door to the Kia House, she immediately felt loved. She said, this is where I want to be. She was wrapped in peer support and decided she was going to make a difference. When law enforcement contact people, often it's a very stressful situation, especially when you're dealing with mental health struggles. What this real program does is allow law enforcement to connect people dealing with their struggles with a trained peer specialist. A peer specialist is somebody with lived experience who's suffered their own mental health issues. What the peers do is provide support. They also know which services are valuable to that person. Amie is now a peer. How the program works is law enforcement officers will make a referral to the Mental Health Association. The peer goes out and contacts that person. It used to be when we made contact with these folks before the program was around, we'd give them a business card with a couple phone numbers circled on it and hope something worked out. Peers are our living, breathing business cards. They know what works, and they show up to talk and listen. When the peers show up at the house, they gather information. They use their knowledge of the system to determine which services are going to be most effective for that person, and at times of need, they'll also help them access those services. And they don't go away. They give ongoing support. They're around for as long as a person needs them. The first referral was made to the Lincoln Police Referral Program in September of 2011. 300 officers since then have made referrals. We've made over 1,400 referrals to date, and that number is approaching 1,500. 300 officers never agree on anything, but we do agree that this program works. And that is why Amie is in D.C. telling the story of the good work the peers here are doing. This is a one-of-a-kind program. You'll only find it here in Lincoln. My story is a little bit different than Amie's. In January of 1995, I had a let's go save the world attitude, and I joined the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department. The area I was first dispatched to was hard hit by crack cocaine. It wasn't unusual to work multiple shootings at a given time. I can recall one weekend we had 13 shootings on one 30-block long road, and 3 of those were homicides. I only got shot at once while I was there, and that was pretty fortunate. It seems the drug dealer that I ran off the corner took exception to me taking his work. I couldn't get pizza delivered to my house, and my last police cruiser was stolen and used in a drive-by shooting across the river. My wife and I decided that it was time to probably go somewhere else, and we stumbled across Lincoln. We liked what we saw, and we moved. Upon coming to Lincoln, I was fortunate enough to attend the behavioral health and threat assessment training sponsored by Region 5 and the Lincoln Police Department. This opened my eyes to what was going on in the mental health community. The training was designed to help us give better ends to people struggling with mental health needs. When my eyes were opened, I realized it wasn't easy as just take your damn medicine, nor was it as scary as the media portrayed mental illness to be. I also realized it was similar to having a disease such as diabetes or glaucoma, and it was just something some people had to deal with. People need help, and police officers want to help them. We want people to be healthy, housed, and cared for. We understand that it's about building trust and relationships with folks. We also want to change the stigma that is associated with mental illness. I know now the power of lived experience. The REAL program gives people hope. Amie says we don't give up, and she's right, we don't, because you never know when it's the right point in somebody's life to make a difference, and that's why we do what we do.